UK authorities have begun arresting citizens for social media posts.
A woman has been arrested by Cheshire Police in relation to an inaccurate information on social media.
Arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the electronics communications network.
What?
The Crown Prosecution Service were keen to point out that they've made a number of charges in relation to stirring up of racial hatred online.
That social media has put rocket boosters under the far-right extremist organisation as the conspiracy theorists.
But I'm going to be arrested for posting on Facebook.
Some comments that are offensive, obscene.
Publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred.
Like retweeting. Right. Hey, did you see this article about immigrants, the number of immigrants coming across, and you see the level of crime that's happening by them?
So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offence.
Sharing that article means this group of police are going to come to your house and arrest you.
So I'm actually being arrested.
You'll be arrested.
They are actually already bringing charges in relation to this sort of thing.
We've been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive, or insulting.
You ever wonder what it would look like if Orwell's 1984 met today's world? Well, it's here. We're going to dive into the UN's latest power grab, an international treaty that could turn your private data into government property. And over in the UK, people are literally getting jailed for retweets. And it doesn't stop there. This could easily happen in the US as well. They'll want to extradite you for your thoughts and opinions. The solution? Well, Bitcoin and separating money from state may be our only opportunity at keeping our freedom intact. We get a lot to cover. Let's get it.
Keen advocate of CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Here he is, in fact, advocating for them.
Today, I'm proud to say that under the UK's presidency, the group of the world's 7 most advanced economies, the G7, is launching a set of public policy principles for retail central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Central bank digital currencies could be a digital version of money, a bit like a digital banknote.
I like it, because we've got a broad concept. What if this person's an idiot? Which we think that they are. It's like a digital penny for your digital money box, for your digital shithole that you live in. You will owe nothing. You will be happy.
That could be used alongside physical notes and coins.
For now, till we phase them out, if you start any little trucker protests, oh, where's my money gone? The digital piggy bank is broken, I'm afraid. Start being a bit more cooperative.
Unlike most of the digital money people use daily today, it would be issued directly by a central bank, like the Bank of England in the UK.
That's good, a central bank. Nothing wrong with centralised authority, centralised power, globalist decrees coming down from on high, avoiding democracy. That's exactly what we want. Keep talking.
And governments and central banks across the world are working together.
Oh, really? They're working together? Well, that's just such great news. The IMF, the World Bank. Why don't we involve the WEF and the WHO? What we need are unelected global bodies that have been able to co-opt political power, respond to financial power, and ignore and oppress ordinary people. Whether it's the recent medical emergency or the cost of living crisis, we're seeing the benefits all around us. I can't wait for your next policy. You're going to take our money now. This is great.
Looking into what having a digital currency might mean in practice.
I think I know what it means in practice. More power for you, no power for us.
This includes issues that people care about, such as ensuring users' money would be safe and secure, that it could work with other ways to pay, would be energy efficient.
Oh, it's got to be energy efficient. I was about to say, is it energy efficient? Is it energy efficient? I've got to make sure. Oh, a few other questions. You wouldn't use this ever, would you, to implement control or to advance social credit type systems?
All right, now let's take a walk down this dystopian nightmare together, shall we? So first, the UN decides to drop this so-called cybercrime convention on us, drafted by none other than Russia and China. Yeah, because those two countries are just known for their stellar human rights records. Anyway, the UN's pushing this treaty that basically says, hey, governments, why don't you go ahead and snoop on everybody's personal data, seize their stuff, and share it with whoever you want? And we're all just supposed to smile and nod like this is all for our own good. Across the pond in the UK, they have apparently decided that free speech is just too much freedom. You can now get tossed in jail for retweeting something the government doesn't like. A freaking retweet! You hit the little arrow icon and suddenly you're getting hauled off to the gulag. And here in the US, we're sitting pretty thinking that could never happen here. We got the First Amendment, right? Well, guess what? It's already happening.
I'm concerned about the lack of understanding that people have about the implementation of things like a digital currency that is centralized, that's controlled by the government. And Maxine Waters, who has been promoting this, said that we need this to compete with China, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like saying we need communism to compete with communism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If you want to compete with communists, you have to be a communist. Like what?
Yeah.
Like digital currency that's centralized by the state is terrifying because they'll connect it to a social credit score system.
Yeah.
If they connect it to a social credit score system, Tulsi Gabbard, I don't like what you said on the Joe Rogan Experience. We're going to go and eliminate your ability to fly.
Right.
You can't fly. You can't travel. You can't buy gas anymore, which is what they do in China.
It's all within the realm of possibility.
Let's take Tulsi Gabbard, for example. You just heard her on Rogan. She is a former congresswoman, a veteran, and because she had the audacity to say Kamala Harris is a puppet for the military-industrial complex, the government slapped her on some Quiet Skies program. Quiet Skies? What the hell does that even mean? Sounds like a title of a B-side spy novel. Now every time she flies, she's got the whole TSA task force up her ass. All because she spoke a little too much truth. And they expect us to believe this is just about national security. Then, of course, there's Trump. Remember, at one time, he was president. And then a couple weeks ago, there were all these upsies that put his life at risk. And we're supposed to believe these were just a collection of honest mistakes all at once, right? Because the Secret Service just suddenly forgot how to do their jobs. Sure, and I'm the Queen of England. Would you like some tea and crumpets? This is what happens when you cross the deep state. And if you think that's some tinfoil hat nonsense, look at RFK Jr. The guy's running for president. I think we know the family history. There's definitely credible threats, but the Biden administration was like, nah, you don't need Secret Service protection. It took him forever to cave, and you gotta wonder, what was the plan here? Just hoping he'd just go away? This isn't just happening to politicians. During that thing that happened a few years ago, the government figured out a way they can just pressure the private sector to do all their dirty work. They get big tech to censor you, and then they sit back like, who, us? We didn't do anything. It's a slippery slope from censoring tweets to throwing people in jail for their opinions. Now let's tie this back to that UN Cybercrime Convention. They're basically setting the stage for global surveillance where your private thoughts and digital data are fair game for any government that decides they don't like what you're saying. And don't think your money's safe either. Bank secrecy? Gone. They can seize your assets, freeze your accounts, and all because you might have said something that rubbed the wrong person in the wrong way. So here we are, between the UN trying to turn every country into a surveillance state and the UK tossing people in jail for tweets. You gotta ask yourself, how far are we from living in our own version of 1984? The First Amendment? Well, we better hold on to it tight, because they're coming for it. And to all those folks over in the UK dealing with this Starmer regime, I just say good luck. Here's hoping you all wake up and remember that no government should have the power to shut you up or lock you up just for having an opinion.
As I'm traveling through Latin America, the CBDC topic does come up when I talk with some politicians. And I explain to them very simply, any democratic country with a CBDC is no longer a democracy. You've ceded power to the central bank because now they can see all transactions, they control the money. Money is power. And they can influence elections, democratic elections. Let's say you have 3 presidential candidates. The central bank or somebody at central bank can leak information about this candidate and said he took money from some suspected people that we think are gangsters. This guy, maybe he's
spent it on a red wine,
or something like that. And this third candidate, he's good. You've given away your autonomy to the central bank. And maybe the head of the central bank is an ethical person, but a central bank digital currency at the end of the day is an IT system run by maybe a few hundred people in an organization.
Now here's where Bitcoin comes in. You see all this nonsense about government seizing assets, freezing accounts, basically doing whatever they want with your money. That's exactly why we need to separate the money from state. Bitcoin is the solution. It's decentralized, it's censorship resistant, and it's not controlled by any government. When you hold Bitcoin, it's yours. No government can freeze it, seize it, or tell you how to use it.
the state is going to react to this financial nightmare as it unfolds. They're going to become, the surveillance aspect will be pushed harder than the bail-in. So in other words, if your surveillance is good enough, then you'll just be rationed money. So when you will be rationed a certain number of dollars per week, per month.
By the way, the UK is calling for lockdowns because of civil unrest. They're calling for arresting Elon Musk, everybody else. I have all the clips. You're absolutely right. They are going to full tyranny.
And what I've said on your show almost probably for 20 years is I mentioned the casino gulag. And what I mean by that is that you're locked in your home, you're being surveyed 24/7, you have access to the internet. And the only way you can eat food for that day is to click on ads online, and you get a little protein pill or something. But you're in a gulag, you're in a digital gulag, and it's designed like a casino. So it's an artificial AI driven casino world, and that's how you exist in that world. And I think that we're seeing that play out in the UK right now. People are going to be
Think about it. If we keep going down this road where governments control everything, from what you say to how you spend your money, we're all screwed. But with Bitcoin, we got a way out. We can take the power back from these governments that think they can just trample on our rights whenever they feel like it. By separating money from the state, we protect ourselves from this kind of overreach. Check out this special message from our sponsors over at the Bitcoin Way. Tony brings the heat.
The world we live in is comprised of bullies. Like the financial system that we're working all our lives in is not a system that was designed to be fair. This was a system designed to steal, censor, and control, nothing more. And until your turn comes to be affected directly by those three elements, you may not pay attention to it because, life is still the same for you. But we're nearing the end of that Ponzi, and a lot more countries are falling apart now, and the pain is real, which is why more folks are starting to rise and push back against this in order to find an alternative to protect themselves and their loved ones. And so no one should be fearful. If you value your freedom and your survival and that of your kids, it is your obligation as a human being to make sure that no one silences you. And if they try, you destroy them.
We should determine our destinies, not edicts from unelected international cartels that seek to surveil and enslave. With freedom comes responsibility, but with tyranny comes despotism. Opt out with Bitcoin and spread the truth. It's time to nut up and stand up for freedom. And an excellent first step is adopting Freedom Money, the new world disorder can't steal, seize, silence, or control. The Bitcoin standard, it's the defense. The detour to Agenda 2030's road to serfdom. It's time to get ungovernable. Hey, I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.